Welcome to HortTube, where we talk all things gardening. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is a spreading Japanese plum yew. This is a spreading Japanese plum yew, a low-growing, evergreen, shade-loving shrub. Spreading plum yew over a very long period of time could end up reaching probably 5 feet in height and 5 to 6 feet in width, but it's very, very easy to keep this plant more like 2 to 3 feet in height and 3 to 4 feet in width. It's best in zones 6 to 9. You might even try this plant in 5B on a protected foundation space. Spreading Japanese plum yew is truly a slow-growing plant. We may only get about 3 inches of new growth on these all the way around, which makes it an absolutely perfect low-maintenance plant. You'll see these spreading plum yews listed in either sun or shade, and I think if you were at the top of the zones where this thing grows, maybe in 5B or 6 or even 7A, you could get away with putting it in quite a bit more sun. If you're in 7B or 8 or 9, this thing is definitely a shade plant. It needs at least a half a day shade, otherwise it will just cook in all day full sun. And it really does make a great understory plant as long as you're getting some bright light on it. Spreading plum yew has a lot of uses. Its primary use though is on a foundation in a part shade or shady space where you need to keep something low and evergreen. There's just not a lot of choices for that. So you're gonna see this plant show up at a lot of times on the north side of a foundation or the east side of a foundation where it doesn't get a lot of direct light and you have low windows, which a lot of houses are going to have that combination. So this is a great choice for that. Also works well as a container plant and will weep down over a container. It looks beautiful in this container, just in a regular black container from a nursery. Also works great mass planted, just in a row with something that has more colorful foliage behind it. These Japanese plum yews have really beautiful, lustrous green foliage, and they look like they kind of hurt you, but they're actually kind of soft to the touch, which is nice. The new growth on this plant in the spring and early summer is almost a lime green color, and the contrast of colors is really, really nice. And the new growth is even softer than the old growth. I've included videos in the description below for planting. Make sure that if you have poorly draining soils or clay soils that you do amend them. This plant would not like to sit in an area that has wet feet. Spreading plum yew is reasonably drought tolerant once it's established. The first year you're going to want to keep an eye on it. Just put your finger down in it and check on it. It grows slowly and it uses water slowly. So this plant right here, I don't think I've watered it in the last month, and it's very heavy right now. It just is not a plant that moves through water very quickly. So be careful not to overwater it. If you planted this next to something else and you decided you were going to water those two things, I don't care what the other thing is, and you were going to water those two things on the same day every time, you'd probably end up giving this too much water. Spreading plum yew has a really nice foliage contrast during the growing season. The old growth is this dark green color. The new growth is kind of a lime green color. You can get more of that by fertilizing them, and definitely use a slow release fertilizer in the mid-spring that'll last 3 to 4 months, and just do it once. You can prune your plum yew pretty much anytime you want to. It's really almost never going to need it. This is a plant you can probably prune every second or third year, and you can just hold it together like this and just give it a quick haircut and be done with it. There are really very few problems on these spreading plum yews. One issue you would have is if you planted this plant too deep or over mulched it or over watered it, you'd almost certainly get root rot. That's one way to kill it for sure. And they're very, very deer resistant. So what are you waiting for? Even you can grow the low maintenance, low growing, beautiful green foliaged spreading Japanese plum yew. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also comment below with any question you have about yews. Thanks again.